Make sure you stock a diverse array of both USB Type-C and standard USB, as well as some old school lightning cables, as you never know when you might have a throwback Apple device that needs one.
You literally sound like you're prescribing me like a bunch of medications when you say that.
I
Like, don't
yeah.
forget to take your A with your B, but the C following, Laura might know from Next to
Yeah.
Normal. Do you know
Oh
that
yeah.
my psychopharmacologist and I, that song where he's
Right, right.
prescribing all those medications? That's what
Hmm.
Apple, yeah, that's what they're trying to do. They're like, don't leave your house without this cord, but you're gonna need that cord, followed by this cord.
Yeah, and then it changes like every year. It's
Yeah,
like
I have a drawer full of
much to keep
miscellaneous
up with.
cables.
I do
So many
too.
dongles. Yeah.
We literally, the top drawer in our dresser in our bedroom is for games, movies, and miscellaneous cords that we find around the house. I'm like, what is this for? I don't know. Put it in the drawer.
Yeah,
It'll
like
be
my
useful
parents used to have
someday.
a junk drawer and it was full of like money from other countries and, nails and screwdrivers. And now it's like, yeah, it's just cords.
Very not Marie Kondo kosher, but yeah, if you're trying to minimize, I guess you'll want to at least keep maybe one of every option just in case. But I deal with like, my PlayStation consoles and stuff and the various cords that have evolved over the years that, connect to those. And I've been getting into some throwback PS1 games lately, and those run real well on a PS3. But then I needed to get an adapter. I wanted to get an adapter to connect a PS1 memory card to a PS3, and that thing it's kind of rare. So the best option, well, it's at least like $50 for a Japanese import, or if you want like an American seller, it was like $75 for this little dongle thing. So
Jeez.
yeah, yeah, it's I used to have one. That was the biggest bugger of it, was that like it went missing. I think I loaned it to my brother when he went off to college, and someone probably swiped it up, one of his roommates or something. Yeah, no, fun with electronics. But yeah, thank you all for hopping on, and yeah, apologies for the absence. But yeah, it's been a rough one. It's always, God, I went into this, I was raring to go for the winter. I was over optimistic, and then, my lousy IBS issues came back in full force, and I had
Your
an
body was
episode.
like, no, we're not gonna do that. We're gonna
It's
do
like
it.
take a break. Yeah.
Exactly. Take a break.
Yeah, I got I definitely got over ambitious with the, certain eating patterns, and yeah, just came back to, yeah, yield a need to make a rush to the emergency room. And now I'm kind of, I spent a couple weeks just recovering from that, and more or less back on my feet now, but things are a little dicey, and I don't know, I'm just kind of clouded by doubts as to like how to proceed going forward. But I have a lot of things that I need to do to kind of get myself straight. So hope this will help dramatically, just being able to sit down and have a chill chat with you all
We're
about some
back.
movies.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, routine. Finding a
After
routine and
a
sticking
brief
with
hiatus.
Yeah. Yeah, this will be a fun one. And I know you all will have a lot to say, so I can kind of just kick back and put up my feet and let you take over. No. Yeah, thank you. So we'll just go around the horn. Got here on the Thodcast for today, Laura, Jody, and Bridget. Laura joining me, Philip Elke, host of the Thodcast, conversations about animation. Laura joining from Minnesota, where I also am located. And then we got zooming in from Georgia. Yeah, Jody and Bridget. So the kind of the full murderer's row of guests is kind of the starting rotation. Well, slash co-hosts. I mean, you're much more than but we're all guests in this virtual space in which we find ourselves. Before the AI overlords eventually like throw us out or only
I
grant.
know. They start getting opinions and things. We'll be
Yeah,
done for.
they'll be yeah, we'll have to attain special privileges in order to gain access. Otherwise, they'll throw us. It'd be like that one Black Mirror episode where like you have to have a certain social aptitude in order to be like
Yeah.
a part of society.
I love that one.
Bryce Dallas Howard,
Hey,
yeah,
Bryce Dallas Howard was great.
I
Yeah.
have to check that out. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
She was like, scan me. I'm this. And they're like, ooh, you're not.
But
Mm-mm.
I brought cupcakes or whatever. Like she brought something for the office. Laura, you'd like that one, but
Mm.
overall I do not like that series that much because it's no
Oh,
Disney, that's for sure.
I'd say I like it, but apparently the guy literally was like, yeah, I'm not doing a season right now because like, yeah, just
it's too real.
everything that's
Yeah,
happening is enough.
that tracks.
I tried some coconut added to my latte earlier, which was
You considered the coconut.
I did.
Yeah,
Amazing.
perfect.
Yeah.
It was delicious. It was like one of the unsweetened Dunkin' flavors.
Ooh.
So, yeah, I added a little texture to that experience, and now I'm downing a Liquid Death. What's their Coca-Cola
The cola
variant?
one, yeah.
Yeah, Killer Cola.
Godfrey just got those at
Mhm.
Kroger. I did not like them, but he liked them, so that's all that matters.
Isn't it just fancy water?
It's sparkling water, but it's got a little more sugar than certain varieties.
Mhm.
There's like 4 grams of sugar in a can, or so it's got a little sweetness to it, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, they
Um,
use stevia. Like I think the Coke one was literally like stevia, citric acid, sparkling water, and then like I guess the Coke flavor.
okay,
Oh, that's
interesting.
really it. It wasn't. It doesn't have very much in it, but it was very tangy. I don't. To me, it was tangy.
It does taste. I mean, and I don't like to do especially with my digestive issues, like full on full fat colas and soda. Soft drinks, are rough. And I've got this stuff. It's a curcumin and turmeric drink. It's like a hydration style beverage. It's funny because it's called Zin, which is like a popular vape.
White
Uh,
wine.
Oh.
or-
Oh, you were
Isn't
thinking
it kind of white
Zinfandel. Yeah.
wine?
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
like it's like a vape brand, isn't it? Zin.
Oh,
But I
I
guess
don't know.
they were able to use the brand for these little kind of
They're nicotine pouches. It's a Swedish brand of
Oh.
nicotine pouches.
okay, so tobacco or a nicotine product, not
mhm.
necessarily vape. But yeah, these little supplement drinks that I get. But those are fun. So that's an update on my life and all the excitement, basically. No, and we'll get around to you all as well once we just kind of ease into the topic. Yeah, Moana 2, like how many? I've seen it twice. Whoever wants to jump in, just say how many times you've gone and just generally like if you liked it or whatever you want to add.
Yeah. I mean, I just watched it for the first time like 2 days ago. I have my
Wow.
notes in front of me. I've seen the original quite a few times, and I kind of wanted to go in with an open mind, even though I'd been hearing all of the reviews, taking it in. I was like, okay. And also understanding the fact that there were different plans for what Moana's story was going to continue like, and they had to kind of change the plans. So I was, taking in all that information. So my overall, I don't usually start with an overall, but I felt like doing that this time. Overall, I think this would be best if they actually had stuck to the series plan. And I think if it were like a movie that launched into a series, it actually would be quite phenomenal for like compared to similar things. Like if you look at the movie that did right before the Tangled series that launched into that, like it kind of would follow that but like a level up with like the really great animation and like things were really lining up. I just think as a standalone sequel full film, like theatrical film, there were some things that needed to kind of iron out. But on the most part, like a lot that I was pleasantly surprised about, but then a lot that I was like, okay, we can workshop this a little more. It actually kind of gave me vibes of when they were still figuring out Frozen 2. Like it was, when Frozen 2 was kind of in that like half-baked form, they're like, I don't know exactly what to do. That's kind of what it was giving me, but not in like a horrible way. It's just like that was like the vision that kept coming to me. But there was a lot that I genuinely really appreciated out of it and like got a lot out of and was like really happy to see, but also a lot that I was like, not as big of a fan of. But that is kind of my overall like would have absolutely loved this if it was like a movie launching into a series because I could see that's where it was going and I was like, oh, that would be so cool. But yeah, so yeah.
I think I'm similar to you. I've seen the first one a ton of times. I love Moana as a protagonist. I loved the first one. I was going into the second one critical. I think it was like in 2016 that they were like, we're going to do a series. And the world's like, yeah. And then they're like, never mind. And everyone's like, okay. But then I got excited again when I knew it wasn't going to be Lin-Manuel Miranda, but is it Barlow and Bear that came in to
Mhm.
do the music? I had really liked what they had done on TikTok with
Oh yeah.
what was it Bridgerton the musical, like the
Yeah.
unofficial type thing, and I had sort of fallen into that what do you call it, hole.
Rabbit hole.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So I was like, okay, well, this is going to be interesting, this is going to be good, but similar to you, felt a little half baked. However, I went to it with a 4-year old, and
Mm.
every critique that I had like did not phase him.
Yeah.
For him, like the pacing worked really well, whereas for me, I
Oh,
was like,
good.
all
Okay.
right, let's go. Like I felt
Yeah.
like it was very much like, what is it, Odysseus,
Oh,
like
epic. A little.
yeah.
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 I was kind of like, I don't know. I thought there could have been a better storyline and maybe
Mm.
a less predictable sense of adventure. But overall, liked it. I'm excited anytime one of these girls, these women, these chiefs or princesses get to extend their story and extend their fan base. And I mean, it did really well in box office, and I see people buying the toys at Target. So good. Thumbs up.
Yeah. It's nice to get the kid reaction to it too. I had no idea how kids are
Bridget,
reacting to it. So that, yeah.
Bridget, did you force your kid to go?
No, both of my children are the worst. So, no, I didn't actually watch it until it was streaming, and I watched it today.
Oh,
We've had a lot of soccer and things to do, so I watched it today though, and I really liked it. I obviously went into it hearing that it was like everything I kept hearing was that kids really liked it, but that adults were like, "Mm." And I I could see why. I actually liked it. I thought it was cute. I do feel like based on how some of it was like set up, that it very much felt like it meant to be episodes.
mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
there would be like uh, oh, like some changes, like it's like set changes. It would just
Yeah.
be like,
You
all
could
right,
see
now
the
it's something new.
delineation. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'd
Like
be like,
end
oh,
of
now it's
episode.
something new, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I was like, that would make sense if that was like where that episode ended.
Hmm.
But otherwise, like I thought that the story obviously was interesting, and actually, the story of them um, the story of them opening up this like passage to all these other
Yeah.
islands and
Yeah.
stuff is actually something that's like backed by history. So they were like they think about like 3,000 years ago is when people in the Polynesian areas of those islands started to travel to other islands, but there was like a 1,000-year gap
Hmm.
that they were like, what was happening in that 1,000 years that they weren't
Oh,
traveling to
wow.
other
Okay.
islands? So this apparently is like, I mean, they didn't put obviously they didn't put that in a movie, but it's supposed to kind of like kind of explain it, like, oh, this is why
Ah.
there was no travel back then between the islands at that time. So I was like, oh, that's like a fun fact, I think. But yeah, I liked it. I thought the music was eh. I didn't
Yeah.
love it. There was none of the songs I was like particularly fussed with. Even like Maui's song, the Chihu song, I was like, it's cute. I think if I wasn't watching the movie, I would never listen to this on Spotify. Like, I think probably the best song, in my opinion, was What Lies Beyond. And I actually saw a lot of comparisons to like this is Moana's version of Into the Unknown.
That's what I was thinking. Literally, I was
Yeah,
like, this is very Frozen 2. This is her call to adventure into the
yeah.
unknown, hearing like to a higher, like leveling up, which she talks about kind of later in the story. Yeah, I was like, I was getting that vibe too.
So yeah, so like overall, I thought it was really cute. I obviously watched it by myself, so I have no idea what my kids think about it, but I talked to some of Scarlett's friends, and they were like, "Oh, I thought I really liked it," and I was like, "Yeah, like I liked the story. I did think it was cute. The music was just meh, but I did
It
like it.
was
I did have a good time watching it."
They said that the timing with the music, I don't know if you guys ended up seeing Mufasa, the live action.
Oh, yeah, because Lynn did that, right?
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he
Mhm.
was slated to do this, but he's, I guess, been like the Lion King fan forever. And he's like, no, I have to focus my energy. But
Mm.
he did take the two young women, I can't remember their names, but Barlow and Bear,
Yeah.
and did try to help them study and prep for it. And they
Mhm.
took a lot of time to learn the Polynesian musical instruments and the culture of the music. So I do think they put their heart and soul in it, but I do
Oh,
feel
for
like when
sure.
Lin-Manuel Miranda does the original, it's difficult to beat. I also kind of
Yeah.
liked Chihu. I liked Beyond. But I liked the music in Wish better, which isn't saying much because I didn't even really like Wish
Yeah.
that much. But it was kind of cute in one of the quotes saying like, "Oh, it's two young women finding their voice in music, and Moana's finding her voice as a
Hmm.
chief." And I was like, "That's fun. That's nice for them to do." But
Mm.
I hope they weren't. I don't know. I feel like some of the critiques on the music were really harsh, so I like hope for their composers and heart's sake, it wasn't like
Oh, for
much of
sure.
a
Yeah.
deterrent. Yeah.
Because
I
I
Yeah.
f
think
could tell that they were, I mean,
yeah.
like these are perfectly serviceable songs that they're doing a really good job. It's very hard to like imitate a composer's style, not
Mhm.
even just the composer, but then also adding the cultural elements onto it. I feel like I would love to see like an original Disney thing from them sometime. I don't know if they'll get to do that, but like just to find more of their voice because I it's there. It's clearly there. I really like a lot of the stuff that they were doing and like they have like really good impulses and things too. It's just I could tell that they were stifled by, okay, we got to keep this within the confines of carrying on this sort of musical ideas that were set up here and also everything there. So yeah, yeah, I wish the best for them. Yeah, for sure.
The one thing I really did like about the music was how Moana's voice has matured. The
Oh
singer,
yeah,
Mhm.
what's her
she's
name again?
fantastic. Auli'i
Oh,
Carvalho. Yeah, because she
yeah.
was like what, 14, 15 when she
Mhm.
originally
Yeah.
recorded, and now she's like in her 20s. She's belting. And I'm like, girl,
Exactly. I
okay,
was hearing
sounding great.
the strength and like the support
Yeah.
under her notes, and I was like,
Yeah.
whoa, she has gone from a
Yeah.
child to a
She's
woman.
literally on Broadway now. So
Oh,
like she's really
really?
yeah, she's Sally Bowles in Cabaret. So like
Okay,
she's
well, amazing.
yeah. Right?
That
Really?
Right. So she's
that
really
was
leveled
really
up her career in many aspects, including her voice. So she's been killing it for sure.
Great.
Hmm.
Yes, she,
and
I
then
mean,
of course
well, she did like both the in you know, diegetic version in the film and then the pop version in the credits.
Oh
She
yeah, she did the
both
pop
versions.
credits as well. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, we got another Ali'i version here. So
Yeah.
yeah.
and not to skip to the credits, but this was also something I missed by only seeing it
Mhm.
once. I was sort of wondering, as I'm watching this movie, I felt like
Mhm.
there was a million like loose ends. But apparently during the credits, one of the villains slash not villains, she sort of is like, now I'm free. And the even bigger villain was like, no, we're
Yep.
just getting
Mhm.
started. And I
Yeah.
Yeah.
think if I had watched the credits and I had seen that little teaser, I would have felt a little bit better about the loose ends because I'd be like, oh, well, they're gonna manage that in the third. But at the time, I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
huh, that's odd that they just sort of let Moana bypass some of these challenges without really fleshing them out. And that made me feel better
Mhm.
because I'm sure like it did so, wasn't it? Like number one in the box office for Disney movies. They'll do a third, they'll come
That's what
back.
I'm
Yeah.
thinking too.
I saw
Yeah.
some numbers
Movie.
earlier, and it was like 200 something million, I feel like.
Dang.
Well,
Trying
Yeah.
to find the number
the
now.
yeah, the box office return on this was insane. I mean,
Hmm.
it would have
Ooh,
been
1.1 billion. The budget was
Yeah,
Wow.
worldwide.
150 million,
yeah,
according to Wikipedia, if we want
That's
to
the
just take
big
it with a grain of
bucks.
salt.
Whew.
yeah, made over $1 billion at the box office for this, what was originally going to be a straight to Disney Plus project,
Yeah.
announced in 2020 as such, but that changed when, I don't know, I guess the fate conspired to make them want to fast track a theatrical project, I guess, related to Moana. I mean, it's such a lucrative property for Disney.
Mhm.
They
And
made
it's
the,
everywhere. And
yeah.
I talked to
Hmm.
somebody recently who has worked with Imagineering, and she actually does a lot of things involving the parades and fireworks shows in the parks. And a memo that she got was like, we need to include Moana as in as much stuff as possible because she's selling the most out of, especially like compared to like a ton of characters and like I think also like they were looking at streaming numbers with how her movie was streaming on, I think at the time it was Netflix, but then eventually Disney Plus. Like that movie was like the number one kids movie on Netflix. So
Wow.
they really were like, we got to get Moana out there. And I love Moana. So I love seeing her everywhere that she is. But I was like, oh, that's so interesting that they have like an internal memo that like we got to put her everywhere because I'm seeing
Oh
that. I'm
yeah.
like,
You
yeah.
are seeing that. They not too long ago, they sort of opened up that new area of Epcot, Moana's
Yeah,
during
the water.
water. And I have a couple of friends who just ended up in Tokyo right now, actually, and they're starting for a new parade or a new stage show.
Oh,
And I know Moana has
yeah.
a big part in that. And obviously on the smaller scale, like our off-brand knockoff version Moana, like everybody, every city, they want to know if she's going to be there. So it
Yeah.
hit with
In a new
kids.
outfit too. So,
Yep.
yeah.
Well, that's like, I mean, Scarlett was absolutely obsessed with the first Moana. And it's kind of funny because she was born the year that Frozen came out, and she did like Frozen, but
Huh.
she liked Moana. Moana and Rapunzel were her girls. She like Anna and Elsa were cool, but like Moana and Rapunzel were the girls to be. And so that's why I honestly, and I think it's because she's kind of heard that like it was like meh. And honestly, I'm like, I don't even think it was meh. It's just I don't even think like the songs were not bad. It's just it's not Lin-Manuel Miranda, which
Mhm.
but I did like that they used some of the like, the music, the Polynesian music and stuff that they used in the
Yeah,
first
yeah, they
one.
brought back Opetawa
Yeah.
Firai and Te Vaka. So like they had a lot of the
Hmm.
original kind of indigenous group of musicians, which really tied it all together and made it like I
Mhm.
love like that music. I often listen to it more than like the songs in Moana just because it's like I
Yeah.
have it on like while I'm working. Like it's just like I don't know, it's very atmospheric and like very just nice to listen to. So it was like, oh, we get another new soundtrack with new music from them too. So like that was really exciting to me too.
Yeah.
So
Well, and the
Island.
actor who voiced her dad he actually sang his stuff this time. They didn't use
yeah,
Christopher
yeah,
Jackson.
yeah.
They didn't call in Christopher Jackson to come
They couldn't
back
get Washington
this
on the
time.
horn. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
It is good when you see Disney like taking the extra step and doing all this stuff. I feel like we've talked about it over the past couple of years, but just how sometimes it feels like the bar is very low when it comes to like Disney trying to like be accurate with casting or
Mm.
sources of music, or even like with Mulan, I think there was issues with like filming location, and just it does seem like they have been pushing more and more to bring that like authentic. And I think as viewers you can feel it. Another thing I really liked, and obviously I've never been, well, I've been to Hawaii, but I'm not like an island girl. But this movie was like stunning visually. I
Oh,
feel like
yeah.
the colors were just to me
Mhm.
perfect. I don't always love what they do with the visuals in songs with like Maui, where they're doing like they did it in Frozen 2 as well, where the lights, it's like really dark, but then there's like light up neon style things.
It's like a dream kind of
You
like
like that?
alternate plane. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You do? Oh, okay. I
It
don't
was
love
it was
that.
interesting. I mean, like they did a different thing with this that I wasn't. They kind of made it instead of 2D, they more made it 3D. I was like, oh, okay, that was a little spin on it. But yeah, it was very much following that playbook, which take it or leave it. But yeah.
Glow in the dark aesthetic, kind of fun.
Mhm.
Glowing bowl. Plus, yeah, the island vibes are impeccable.
Oh yeah.
Revisiting the original and then seeing the new one, I just kind of find yourself, feel immersed in the vibes of it all. Whether the plot or the story is kind of as solid or as fully baked as it ought to be. I mean, I kind of like how it's probably a much condensed version of a kind of broader story that they were telling with this series. Just kind of helped things move along at a clip. And I mean, I suppose I probably would have gotten around to the series eventually, just because it's such a major character and a major part of this saga, the Moana saga, and there'll be at least one more theatrical film in
Mm.
the not too distant future. Gosh, with the success they've had with the franchise so far, it's going to go on a ways. But no, I'm looking forward to what comes next. Yeah, Jody. So you didn't even see the reveal of the main villain necessarily.
Mm.
I didn't.
Yeah.
And I feel like that put a little hindrance
You
on
gotta
my
like YouTube it.
Yeah,
So
it's on Disney Plus, so it's just
he
the
Uh-huh.
kind
very
of
end of
like
the
Yeah,
credits. Yeah.
because
Uh,
essentially
Tamatoa is there too.
it's a mid credits,
Yeah.
so you don't have to
Yeah,
uh,
wait.
Tamatoa is there
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
so I really like that voice actor. I originally had heard him on Flight of the Concords, which is like
Yeah,
this
Jermaine
offbeat
Clement.
New
Yeah,
Zealand.
Jermaine Clement.
Okay, yeah, so you guys know of him. He's not
Hmm.
like obscure
Very
anymore. At the
funny.
time, he
Yeah.
felt very obscure that I
Yeah.
recognized this voice. But I really think that not having him in this one, having his voice, I was like, oh, what a bummer. Because they brought back pretty much everyone original voice
Right. Yeah.
um, into it. But essentially, it's as she's going on to find this island to bring everyone together, she's going through these series of like struggles. And that woman who caught her, what's her name again? That first villain,
Matangi, right?
Yeah,
Matangi.
Yeah.
Matangi.
She's also under a curse. That's what I got out of
Right.
it, right? And
Yeah.
that's sort of like what we will explore next, essentially.
Yeah, she sort of is underneath this like larger god who I believe his name is Nalo, and he was
Nala.
the one who set up this whole thing where he was hungry for power and he thought by dividing everyone that would make him more powerful. And there was some collateral that came from that involving Matangi. I think also Maui is involved with that too to some level. So it's like yeah, there's like some interesting power dynamics and things, but they do kind of touch up on this in that little brief credit scene where it's setting up like, oh no, we've got more to do with the storyline, which I don't know. Have they announced anything about dates for
Not
Moana 3?
publicly, no. I
Yeah,
looked before we hopped on to see if there was even
yeah.
like a tease or something. I haven't seen it, but my question would be, and maybe you would know this or not, but I don't know much about Polynesian mythology, but I'm assuming these are true gods and goddesses and characters from their mythology, like the way that there's like Zeus and Hades.
Right. I would hope so, because
Yeah, I think
Maui
they're
is, yeah.
inspired. They're like
Okay.
inspired because of course
Okay.
it's like, a bunch of different Polynesian cultures that they're
Yeah.
pulling from. Because like, at the end, spoilers, I guess, when they see the other people, there's like,
Mm.
the Micronesians,
Yeah,
there's like different kind
Melanesian.
of
Yeah.
Polynesians and stuff that are coming. And so I like that. So I imagine they're like, even if they might use the name of some of their like actual ones, but I imagine they're more like just like inspired by them.
Yeah.
Because which funny story, Nalo means lost in Maori, which I
Oh,
found
Oh,
interesting.
that is
Mm.
interesting. Yeah.
Get lost.
huh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Huh.
he's a lost god.
Lost
Doesn't
soul.
know what he's doing.
He was lost from this movie. No.
Yeah.
I know, right? We like never really, you don't actually like see him
We hear about him a
until
lot, but then
Jody never
yeah.
saw him, so
Yeah.
you only
No.
see him in the clouds, really.
Very similar. I've heard a few like critiques of the movie and how structurally it's kind of identical to the the original, and including
Mhm.
like the notion of the kind of looming, deity that serves as the big bad, but doesn't really function as a direct villain. Instead, you've got kind of the secondary villain character who shows up in the middle of the film, in the form of Tamatoa in the first one, here in Matangi. And there's just, yeah, the fact of this movie being kind of rushed. I guess play the hits and stick to what works. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah,
But
when he said they copied, I was like, yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I saw that they considered, I can't remember her name, the bat chick, Matangi.
Mhm.
They considered her
uh,
a villain, but I was like, I really don't consider
Yeah.
her a villain.
I
I
would
mean, I
have
guess
loved it if she was like full on. I was really
just
looking forward to that. I was like, okay, we're
yeah,
back
like
to like villains in
yeah,
like
she's
because we
like a
just haven't
bat
had that in a while.
lady.
It's been a lot of twist villains or a lot of like the reformed villain. And I was like, no, I just want like a mean person who's just mean for the
no.
heck
Yeah,
of it.
she's
No.
Yeah,
basically
she's more
Yeah.
like a underling, but like
Nah,
against her
she's
will.
yeah.
she's basically
Hmm.
Megara from Hercules.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
she's just
Uh,
kind of
I
like
liked her
stuck.
song though. Her song was
I
kind of
did too.
like,
I thought hers
yeah,
was
I was
like
like,
yeah.
I vibe
catchy.
with this. Yeah.
So you got like a little bit of sultry vibe to that song. Is like, she's got a bit of a gray morality to her. Understandably, she's originally, initially painted as this antagonist, towards Mao, like keeping Maui prisoner. But yeah, she's, I guess, under the thumb of this larger god force who has, I don't know, a bone to pick with humanity for whatever reason. And yeah, like she's she forms like a secret alliance with Maori and Mo. She has the hots for
For
Maui
Maui.
Maui.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
was like,
Like,
I
she might
didn't
be
catch that
looking
at first. And then
good.
I was like, wait,
Yeah.
wait.
But like the
Um,
message of like get lost, play things a
Mhm.
little, just don't be so uptight. That sounds like something that like a bit of a scoundrel character would say. It's kind of fun, and of course, yeah, it's like a message that some people need to hear if they are a little bit too kind of by the book, and if they aren't willing to kind of go beyond into the unknown.
Mm.
You
yeah, if
need a
you're not
little
willing
bit.
to go, what's beyond? No.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But
And
Uh,
oh,
that's
so her actress.
oh, go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry. Go ahead.
No, I
So
was just gonna oh. Please,
so the
Bridget.
actress,
You.
and I'm gonna ruin her first name. Ahimai is my assumption. Fraser. She was Elsa in the Maori version, and she was
Oh,
also
that's so
Louisa.
cool.
She was Louisa in the Encanto Maori version, which I
Oh,
thought was
that's
really
right.
awesome.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She sings Louisa's songs, but
She's
she is
great.
Elsa.
Her voice,
Yeah.
I was here for it. I was like, girl, she's singing.
Yeah,
Like,
Like,
yeah,
yeah.
get us a sultry gal
what
up there.
Yeah.
celebrity is this? Yeah, as soon as I
Yeah, I
heard
love
like,
that they had more, like relatively unknown voices, but like
hmm
also like people who are strong singers and known for doing that. And like, I think, yeah, I know the Maori versions of a lot of Disney films were only very recently added. Because I remember when they did the one for Moana, and I believe they got Dwayne to The Rock to do it in Maori, if I remember correctly.
hmm.
Or they had some of the original cast reprising it. But yeah, so like I that's really cool to see it.
Has Philippa Sue been in a Disney movie yet?
Besides the first Moana where she's like a background
Um,
voice,
Interesting.
yeah.
I don't
She
know.
'Cause-
She
sings
was in that
in
Moon one,
yeah, she was in
yeah,
one
Over
on
the Moon.
Netflix, but that
Yeah.
wasn't
great
Disney,
job
was
in
it?
that. Yeah. No, that
Yeah, I
was
loved her
Netflix.
in that.
That
Yeah,
was that
she's
was
like one of the villagers in like Where We Are, or yeah, the first song of the first film. But
Over the
Imagine
Moon.
yeah.
casting her as a background villager
Oh,
voice.
I know,
Right.
especially because it was like in the middle of like Hamilton was happening concurrently. So he was like, he wanted to get a couple of his Hamilton cast folks involved in this project. So Chris Jackson and Philippa Sue. I can't remember who else. There might have been some other people as well, but yeah.
He
Over
was
the
So
Moon
I
is
looked
a
at
fun
casting.
watch if you haven't seen it.
Mhm.
I liked that. It was a really cute one because I think it came out during
Oh, Over the Moon.
I
Yeah, we
believe
did an episode
around
on
that
Over the
time
Moon.
period.
Yeah,
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 great.
yeah.
I
we
love
watched
that film.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched that when it came out.
Yeah.
So I looked it up. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I just said Glenn
Okay.
Keane.
So I looked it up. There, I think we're lagging a little
I
bit.
am. I've got issues going on right now. Oh,
So I looked it up to see if The Rock was in the Maori version, and it looks like the only person who was in the Maori version of the first Moana was Jermaine Clement. He
Oh, okay.
was,
So I mixed
yeah,
it up. So it was Jermaine. Ah, that's
yeah.
cool though. Yeah.
Wait, so are you saying they learned the other language?
Unless they know
No,
it already.
no,
Like,
they
yeah.
probably already know it,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
or at least can like speak it well enough because
Yeah.
Jermaine Clement, he's from New Zealand, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
But Moana 2 made history by releasing Maori language version alongside the premiere.
Yeah. That's
That's the first
amazing.
Disney movie to do that.
Dang.
I mean, there's an extremely powerful moment sung, entirely in Maori. Yet at the
Yeah.
conclusion of this film, like that was
Mhm.
a great decision, just not to involve any English in that moment as well. So, I mean, it doesn't lose any of its poignancy for being, sung in a non, in a non-recognizable language, for English speakers. You clearly know, you get the intent behind the moment.
You can feel the vibes. I was like, this
Yeah,
is
Right.
important. I don't need to know
Yeah.
what
This
she's
is a
saying.
moment.
so much
Yeah.
more powerfully than if it had been translated.
Right.
And yet, like the music, like I like this new song Beyond. It seems
Mhm.
like a elevation of, what came before with How Far I'll Go. I'm not the biggest fan of How Far I'll Go. It's a quality. So it gets chopped up too much, of course, in the film,
Mm.
and then like on the soundtrack, there's not really a great single mix of that song. Other than maybe the end credits version, which that's not Ali Carvalho. If
That's Alessia
I think it's
Cara, I
Alyssa
believe.
Cara.
Yeah.
right,
Hmm.
Yeah.
right. Yeah, I would kind of find myself listening to that more often just because it was
Mm.
a more full version. But yeah, with this Beyond, you've got both the theatrical version and the credits version, which both. I guess I haven't really fully decided which one I prefer, but
Mm.
great, great, and I like the minor key kind of aspect of the song appeals to me too.
Yeah, a little mystery to
Yeah,
it. And I also like that they brought back the I Am Moana theme, to kind of
right.
reinforce that whenever they could, I was hearing throughout listening to the score, trying to see like when they were able to reinforce either melodies from the original or melodies from this. Honestly, I appreciate it a lot when a movie that has new material tries to reinforce those musical ideas throughout the film so that you get used to it and so it gets stuck in your head a little bit more. I didn't hear it as often as I would have liked to for this film, but whenever they did do that, I like made note of it. I was like, okay, I like to see that. I like to hear this sort of like these motifs and things like that. It adds a lot to the musical landscape
I think
for
it's
sure.
great, yeah, to pass the torch to kind of new talent as well. These are kind of up and coming songwriters, this female duo, Barlow and Bear. Whereas like a movie like Spellbound, you had the classic, go in
Oh, I
Mal
mean, Alan
Menken,
Menken,
but
like
the
bow
music was
down.
so
Yeah.
forgettable. I thought that, I mean, see, like I'm
I
kind
couldn't
of
tell you any of the songs from that
I
movie.
I
So
still am singing My parents are monsters.
okay.
I
Parents
I
are
know.
haven't seen it yet. I need to see it. Yeah. But I love
I
Yeah.
Alan Menken. Yeah.
and I love Rachel Ziegler. So like we're not
Okay.
talking
Hmm.
about Snow White yet, but like I love her and I loved Spellbound or
Yeah.
Spellbound, whatever it was called. I liked it a
Yeah,
lot.
I was an easy mark for this film, but that movie, I just was having none of it. So, like, I don't love everything.
I think your tummy was hurting when you watched it because that was right before we
Oh,
took our big break.
You
You need
need
yeah.
to
to
watch
watch
it
it
Yeah,
again.
again.
You need to give
no,
it
I think I know you
With
feel
a
better.
clear mind and a settled
yes.
stomach. Yeah.
no, that movie can
It was a one and done
No,
video.
no,
go
no,
go
no,
for
no,
it's
He's
not
for the
like,
then.
birds.
not coming back.
No, Spellbound made you so sick. That's what did it.
Oh
It was Spellbound.
no.
Spellbound made you sick.
It
There
put a
we go.
spell on you.
Maybe so, nah, I don't know. It's just so
Do
like
you think then? So obviously, like Lin-Manuel Miranda, does he give them? I guess he doesn't own the rights to the music, so the people writing the sequel can take.
Somewhat. I did see his name
Yeah.
credited because they did do We Know the Way, and so I saw his name in the
Hmm.
credits just for that. But yeah, for any material that is that you create and then gets used in another film, even if you're not involved in that, they do need to reach out to you to like
You
make
get
sure
like
that's
royalties and
okay.
stuff too.
Yeah, there's a lot
yeah.
of like copyright royalty things that are a part of that process. And
I
so,
was
and I think because it's Disney and because it's Lynn and like that was able to be better facilitated because it's
it's
like,
like
okay,
in
he's
the
already on.
family.
Yeah, he's
Well, and
already
he
in
has
the
a
roster.
contract. Yeah, he like has a
Right.
contract with
Yeah.
Disney, so I imagine like that's in there. That's in that contract. Like,
Yeah.
oh hey, like
Uh-huh.
you will still get paid
Yeah,
every time we
because
use your
I mean,
song.
yeah, The Little Mermaid did very similar for its second movie. Like those are completely new songwriters, but I think they deferred a little bit to Alan Menken where they could, but yeah, they didn't really
Well,
have much to do with each other.
even with Mufasa, they took snippets of
Mm.
like the original Lion
Oh,
King.
yeah. Was Hans Zimmer involved in that or
He
anybody
must
else
have
from
been.
the?
That's why I was wondering
Yeah.
how they determine who owns what,
Yeah.
when, and why. Because I mean, a long time ago, I don't know if you guys were in on it, but Philip and I talked about with Aladdin and how
Oh,
the voice
yeah.
of the genie, he really got, for lack of a better word, like shafted when it came to
Yeah.
using his voice.
Yeah. It was
I
pretty
mean, I
rough.
don't know what
Yeah.
word you want me to use, Philip, but just
No, no, it's
you do hear stories about people who are in that creative space and they do something kind of monumental and then Disney runs with it without properly pay. Didn't he make like $80,000 for the movie Aladdin and then
Yeah.
he didn't get any money for like his voice used on
he
the toys and the advertising,
Yeah.
whatever.
And then
he
they had
So
to
didn't
put in
something like
so
that.
much, yeah, to protect. And now he was like, I don't want my name to be bigger on the poster, my character to be bigger on the poster. Like I want it to be all, equal and things like that. So that, yeah, so he didn't want to set a precedent for what could be even worse going forward. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's
he saw
a little
kind of
scary.
the
Yeah.
yeah, the writing on the wall when it came to
Yeah.
the use of celebrity talent in these
Hmm.
projects as a marketing device more so than as an artistic implement. He wanted to engage in, what he thought was a profound artistic endeavor in the form of, these ambitious, you know, hugely, momentous projects that, were gaining traction at the time from the studio, but like there was a certain purity to it up until that point. But then once they became these huge commercial properties, as was beginning to really take hold with hits like, Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, the immediate predecessors to Aladdin, like they realized, oh, we could hire whoever we want and put their, plaster the name on all over the marketing, and that would just be an added way to get the message out on. And plus, Robin Williams, like he totally had the chops to be, an embodiment of an animated character, whereas
Yeah.
most celebrities, they're basically just,
A
being
name.
playing themselves.
Yeah.
They're playing themselves in every role. You want a cartoon voice talent, voiceover talent to be recording and more, they would resort more to like Broadway theatrical
Mm.
actors for these roles, largely, which makes sense because they have, that added ability to, project and be kind of versatile when it comes to just portraying a broad character.
I wonder how much they had to teach the little tiny baby girl that joined.
So
Oh,
Khaleesi.
she was
cute.
really cute. Moana adding in siblings. I love it.
Smart,
Uh-huh.
smart. I know it's
Well, I mean,
also
how
because
many?
like
I was gonna say,
um
how many other than like Merida? How many of them have siblings, like princesses? The princesses.
Ariel does, and most of them
Well, I mean,
have
yeah,
not
they
biological.
don't
Like,
count.
yeah, I guess the Cinderella that doesn't count, I guess. But other than
No, yeah,
that,
that was
yeah,
it was a
Elsa and
really cute
Anna.
like
else? Yeah,
relationship. Well, yeah, Elsa and
yeah,
Anna.
Anna
But
and
I mean, like,
Elsa, but that's
I was
it.
like,
Yeah,
like the older one and the younger one. I was like, that's a really cute
yeah.
dynamic.
You know
I
why
mean,
I
it
think
was.
they added them though, realistically? I think
Yep.
with the original Frozen, doing like the early days where Elsa and Anna are
Mhm.
little kids, and those scenes, people love those scenes so much of like
Yeah.
Elsa and Anna playing as children.
And
I
Baby
feel
Moana, like that scene in
like
Oh yeah,
general,
Baby Moana is so cute.
huge.
I feel
Yeah.
like they took that and they're like, okay, viewers love seeing
Yeah. And
baby
the dolls that you
princesses
can make out of that, like
so
they
much
sell
merch.
so
Hmm.
much. So
Was
yeah, very smart move on their end. And she's adorable. So it works for me. I was like, okay, I love her.
Am I just, Mandela effect here? Or was her mom pregnant in the first film? I
Oh,
might
Mm-mm.
just
We
be.
never actively see her
yeah.
No,
pregnant.
no, okay.
Mm-mm.
At least
Because
not
she's
like
only gone
visibly
for
pregnant.
how long has she even gone for in that one? Because
A few
yeah, it wouldn't
weeks,
have
she
made sense
says.
if yeah,
Yeah, like a few
so
weeks.
that would not have tracked. So
Yeah, well, and I'm like, it
Okay.
has to have been like a little bit of a time skip though, because like
mm.
Moana was like a little buff. I was like, good for her.
Yeah, she
I
looked
was
a
glad
little
that they
different in
did that.
general. Yeah, she looked like
Yeah.
she had eyeliner on. Did anyone else catch that? Like, I don't know if it was something with her eye, like the
Yeah. Well, I
animation
think they
style
like
on her
make
was,
her look
yeah,
older. And like they
that
made her
might
look
have been
older.
it.
Well,
Yeah.
and it makes sense that you would like be a little bit more like muscularly defined
Mm.
because you're wayfinding all over the place. That
Oh,
doesn't, you're
yeah.
not just doing that and being like no muscle. So I was
Mm.
like, like they definitely aged her up, but like in a way that it's
Yeah.
not like jarring. It's not like, oh, now she's 25.
Right. It didn't seem like a disconnect. Like it was like, okay. And then she sounds more mature too, especially when
Mhm.
with the singing. So, yeah.
So, yeah, it's only been a
Yeah.
few years. Yeah, Samaya. I thought it was funny that the actress's name is Khaleesi.
Aw.
There are obviously a few of those now that are getting to be of,
Yeah.
you
Oh my
know,
God, millennial babies.
yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, we have an Alisi, not Khaleesi, but Alisi on our soccer team. So
And
I
a
was like
bit of a
inspired.
yeah, I remember the posts when, the finale of the show, ran, and uh the multitudes of parents who had named their child Khaleesi, perhaps
Or like
eating
Daenerys.
Mm.
eating crow a little bit. I like, some sort of maybe regretting that choice a tiny bit, but I don't know. I guess it's kind of like naming your kid Anakin or something, It's
Dude, there was so many people who named their kids after Twilight characters, and I was just like,
Mm.
don't
There
do
were
that.
so many Bellas and Bells for a
Oh
minute. I know
wow.
exactly what you're
That's
talking about.
yeah.
It is a
Yeah, dang, I
Honestly,
didn't
yeah.
realize that.
Yeah,
I
there.
haven't seen
yeah.
any
Well, we have so
Renesmees,
many
so
Bellas. Oh God, no one wants to curse their child. Okay.
no thanks.
But yeah. Well, and I've even seen Rosalie. I've seen a couple
Oh
of those, but it's
yeah.
usually like Bella, Belle, Isabella,
Yeah.
Isabel.
I've seen
That
more
is
Harry Potter
a
names.
popular
That's
name.
been like I've seen some Hermione's. I'm like, oh,
I've never
okay.
seen a
Like,
Hermione.
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I've
I've
seen
I've met a
Luna,
couple at
and I'm
events.
like,
Yeah.
I've seen Luna, and I'm like, I wonder.
That could
I'll
be
go
multiple fandoms. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
right.
like, how old are you?
I was gonna
37?
Yeah.
say
Okay.
sometimes there is like an overlap because when my sister, when we went to the hospital, she's holding her baby. She's like, I named him Sebastian. I was like, oh my
That,
gosh, like it's Brad.
That's
And she
great.
yeah.
goes, no. What are you talking about? I was like, Little Mermaid. And she's like, no, the composer, Sebastian Bach. And I was like,
Johann Sebastian
oh,
Bach.
Oh,
That's too
okay.
okay.
good. I
And I was
love
like,
Yeah.
it.
okay, but the whole world is gonna
But he's
think
a composer too, so
One of
what
I
I
us,
mean,
should have
I
said.
like, we need to name one of our kids Thomas Riddle.
oh,
Oh,
Elkie. Thomas Riddle Elkie.
I mean, hey, well, one of my niece and her brother, so my niece and nephew, they're Atticus, so Atticus Finch, and then
yeah.
Annabelle for Annabelle Lee. And I was like, you guys are like
mm.
such nerds, but
Very literary. Yeah.
but I
Oh.
mean, our kids' names kind of like go together too because we have Scarlett, we have Oliver, but his middle name is Hawthorne, and so
Oh.
Nathaniel Hawthorne wrote the Scarlet Letter.
Oh, Scarlet Letter. Yeah, I was just gonna say that's
Yeah,
cool.
it all
Yeah.
comes together because we're nerds.
Yeah.
Um, just different fandom, I guess.
What do we think of this film being just a kind of repaint of the original Moana,
Not
like very,
Moana.
very
Moana.
my Chicago. No, like it does expand the format a bit by adding some characters to the journey. What do you think? Noteworthy is kind of the expansion of the roster of like non-speaking sidekick roles, I guess that
Yeah.
some people had noted online. I was okay with that because it's like if these movies are gonna go in on the annoying sidekick characters, why not just go full bore and just
Yeah.
like
Overload it.
Yeah.
Do
just
it. Why
They
not?
all have
You got
their own
yeah.
Pua and Bua.
personalities.
Yeah.
But
A boat
yeah.
snack, bigger boat snack.
Any other thoughts on, let's see, we got Moni,
Oh
he's a
yeah,
fan
new
of Maui.
characters.
Yeah,
There's
he's
like
a
the
Maui
quirky
fanboy.
inventor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Loto.
Loto's the
Loto
inventor,
is the engineer,
Yeah.
and
inventor
And then
lady.
there was the grumpy farmer.
Kayleigh.
Kayleigh.
Yeah.
I didn't really like them. I feel like, and I know it's for probably the sake of the movie, and maybe on a series it would have been different, but sometimes when they feel like so one-dimensional, I
Yeah.
just get annoyed. But I mean, of course, they had to have someone with her to play off of when it came to like traveling. It couldn't just be Maui probably all over again. But I wasn't the
Yeah.
biggest fan of any of them. What I
Mm.
did kind of like though is how Moana had these little fan clubs on the island
Mm.
after she had done this big, wonderful,
The
amazing.
Moana bees.
Yeah, because I feel
That
like that
So
would
cute.
be
was good.
the reaction if you lived on an island and one person went above and beyond.
Yeah. Yes.
You would see some of that. So I thought that was kind of cute. Just like the sidekicks themselves, I was like, meh.
Two of the Moana bees were the Rock's daughters.
Oh,
Okay, that's
that's
cute.
cute.
Yeah, and then I think his mother was one of the villagers.
Oh,
And,
dang.
like he was like he included his whole family. He was like, everybody come
Yeah.
on. We're gonna be in Moana too.
I love that. Yeah.
It's a producer, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I suppose some of the lack of info on sequels to this is due to the attention that they're trying to place on the live action, or at least The
Yeah.
Rock,
Oh, that's
he's
right. I keep forgetting that that's a thing.
I would
Yeah.
rather
I
forget,
don't know
yeah.
how I feel about that.
I would,
But
yeah.
well,
Wait. Pause,
I-
pause.
what?
Did they decide to do the live action before they knew this was not going to be a mini series?
Yeah.
The live action
Uh-huh.
was announced before
Yeah.
it was changed to a movie.
Okay.
So it was a series, and then they were like, haha, just kidding, it's a movie.
Okay.
Yeah,
I thought
that's-
those were
Yeah,
just like AI
because The Rock and Ali, they weren't signed on for this because it was a series. But they were kind of signed on to the movie. Ali more so in like a producer role, and
Yeah,
then
she's not doing
obviously
Moana.
The Rock. Yeah, The Rock is back as Maui.
I've seen
but
pictures.
yeah.
It's interesting.
Yes, I have. I don't know how
It's
it's gonna
giving
look
Scorpion
actually
King.
on the screen, but how it's looking on the behind the scenes, yeah, I'm like, ooh, I don't know how the proportions are
Yeah.
a bit off, but that's
As
how
I
it's
said.
gonna be. Like you can't, yeah. So I guess
No.
we'll see. I don't know when that one is coming out or anything, but
I think
I know
like in
it's
a year or two.
oh in a year. Dang,
Like
yeah,
or like
'cause
maybe two. I'm
It
not
might
quite sure.
offset because I don't know how what the Moana schedule is for how they're I mean how they're continuing the main story and then also integrating the live action
It says
among that. So it's
2026.
2026 already? Gee, I
That's
guess
what
they
I'm
were filming
saying.
last year, so that might track.
Yeah. But no,
Yeah.
the pictures I saw of him, I was like, he looks like the Scorpion King all
Mm.
over again. It's very weird. Uh,
The hair was something was going on there. Yeah.
well, it wasn't like curly enough. I don't know. It looked
It
too
just looked
flat. I was like, that's
flat.
weird.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
flat.
I'm like, Maui has great hair. That's
He's
one of
got
his things.
luscious
That's one of his
locks, right?
things. Yeah, he's great hair flip, guys. Like
Yeah,
he has to have
exactly.
beautiful hair.
Yeah.
And like I know that they make wigs. I have friends who have wigs that look better. Okay.
Yeah.
Like um
Uh,
but yeah,
uh,
so no, it's interesting. But well, and so back to the side characters, I feel like they
Mhm.
gave her side characters to give her more stakes. I'm
Yes,
like,
I
and
could
to
see
obviously
that.
not be like a carbon copy of the first one, but it was like, oh, we gotta
mhm.
raise the stakes because you can't let your friends die. Now you have
Yeah, because
friends.
that was a moment with the with Moni like almost dying, and then
Yeah.
the whole everybody got all
Yeah.
depressed, and then they're like, well, let's sing a song. So like they wanted to kind of have higher stakes, which I can see like it raises the stakes for the island, for the people on the island, but also the people that she's traveling with, and also the implications of what this means for all the other interconnected island people. Which made me that was the whole thing. So like my thing was like, man, I kept coming back to like this would be so good as a series. Like you can just every week you have
Hmm.
another island that you're going to and like new music to explore and
Mhm.
like a monster of the week potentially kind of a thing. And like I don't know, like I would get down with that format. Like I as a fan of like Tangled the series and other shows that Disney Channel has put out themselves, I just think it would really and also in that animation style, it'd be the first time that they did something like that to that level and that scale. So I was like, man, like missed opportunity there because yeah, you could really, really take your time too, because then you wouldn't have as many issues with pacing and things where it would just be like a contained like
The
sub story and
pacing.
like a certain arc of episodes would be like one island or something like that, like where you didn't have to like shove it all in one go. Like you could kind of give it some room, give it some
Mhm.
space for
When
like
you
a
could like
season or
when
something.
they could have
Yeah.
given them like more personality. Because like
Right.
obviously like
And
having
yeah.
Loto there helped because she was the one who did the kite thing when they were
Right.
running away
Yeah.
from tornado. So it's like it's good to
Hmm.
have like people with more
Yeah.
brains to help do the
Help the
situations. Like that
operation.
makes
Yeah.
sense. But it's like they were not fleshed out very much.
And you're
Yeah.
right, that
Yeah.
probably does stem from the thought of maybe having them throughout multiple episodes. This is like just like reminding me, podcast, that Tiana's series also got
Yeah.
totally cut. Like
Oh,
no
Yeah.
yeah.
And
season.
not even there's like
Boo.
a special or something that's coming
Yeah, they're
out.
talking about
That's
doing a special
yeah. Other than
because the
that,
actress
like
was like said she was really bummed.
yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people were bummed. That was one. I felt like Disney came out with all these amazing announcements, and in the
Yeah.
past like 12
They
months,
have
they
the
kept holding
ride
it
and
back.
like
Yeah.
right. Like
Yeah,
I
I
thought
was
it
like,
was gonna
why do the
go
ride? Like, did you do the ride
right.
anticipating this? And they were just like, haha, just kidding.
I don't know how that works because I just feel like those series do so well. I mean, having
Yeah.
a
I
6 year
love
old and a
them.
4 year
Yeah.
old, like series are their favorite thing to watch in comparison to
Hmm.
movies. Like if they want to
Hmm.
watch something, they want to watch like
They
They want to
short
watch a
ascensions
show.
fans, like yeah, it's
Yeah.
like if it's like 11 to 30 minutes or something like that, like you can just pop them in. They go, yeah,
Yeah.
like
Like,
and it's
and
great.
Getting Oliver through a 2 hour movie sometimes is a trial. But like a 25-minute episode, we'll knock
Mhm.
out a whole
Perfect.
season in a day. And I'm
And
like,
we had
okay.
that kind of
Like,
thing. We had the Little Mermaid series. We had the Aladdin series. We had
mhm.
stuff like that.
Hercules.
Yeah, Hercules,
Uh,
love that. Yeah. House
But
of
when
Mouse, all of these, like yeah.
it
Hmm.
comes to series, if they're just gonna let them be their own things and let because what's the most recent besides Rapunzel? Has there been a series that has
There's like a Disney Junior Ariel, but like it's like for
hmm.
babies. Other than that, like I can't
Yeah.
think of the last one that Disney Channel put out besides Tangled. Yeah.
in
But
Tangled
There's
usually
or Disney Chicks?
there's like little Toy Story
Yeah.
shorts that are on. And then I think they
right.
did the little Monsters Inc. show.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And that was on Disney
But I'm like,
Plus.
that's
Yeah.
yeah. I'm trying to think of stuff that we've like
Big Hero
watched because he
6, I
likes them.
think had a show.
I
Yeah,
think
that might
so.
be the most recent one. Hmm.
Yeah. That's what I'm like. I don't think any like princess ones that I can
Mm-mm.
recall.
Yeah.
There's a added, I think, intrigue or a prestige that comes with a theatrical film showing up on a streaming service too. So it kind of does yield the best of both worlds to have a film like this first released in theaters, and I mean it did gangbusters, so that was a
Yeah.
huge coup besides. But then I'm sure it's just doing killer on Disney Plus,
Mm.
in terms of like the
That's where I watched
streams.
it. So
Yeah, I mean, in prior years, something like this would have maybe come out a little bit sooner on Disney Plus, but they knew they could just let it kind of run and continue to rack up box office. And then now it's gotten kind of a unusually late release on Disney Plus, or I guess more standard. I guess when they were really kind of pushing the streaming stuff, they would shorten that window just a bit. Uncharacteristically, just I guess because they're trying to drive subscribers. But yeah, things like Encanto, I probably even Strange World, like they didn't hang around in
Mm.
theaters for very long. COVID was a factor too, but nowadays you're seeing a bit more of a traditional window of theatrical running, and until you see that Disney Plus release. But of course, the sheer numbers that this movie was pulling added, I think, to that decision to wait until March to drop it on the streamer.
well, it
Um,
says within the first 5 days, it got 27.3 million views on Disney Plus.
okay,
Oof.
yeah.
Wow.
So
Well,
that was by Variety. Variety did
e-
a thing about it.
even poorly performing films that are released to theaters do seem to do better on streaming services. I think
Yeah.
there's sort of a stink of like, oh, this is a made for TV movie when something's released straight to
Oh, sure. Like yeah,
Netflix.
like
Or
the label of that. Yeah.
there was that
That was like all
electric.
the movies back in the day, like oh Mulan 2, Pocahontas
Yeah.
2,
So many
Belle
direct to
2.
DVD sequels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, any of you see that big new Netflix movie called The Electric State, which apparently had a huge
Oh,
budget, but
oh, Godfrey will not let us watch it
Hmm.
because he said that it's ruining. Because apparently, the Electric State is based off of like this art that's like really like dystopian and
Hmm.
like eerie
Oh.
almost,
Hmm.
and he feels like they just kind of made it like campy and
Uh,
like a cheesy Chris Pratt like robot movie. So he's like, yeah, we're not
Yeah.
watching that. He's like, we're not watching it.
For
So
some reason, yeah, there just seems to be like a lack of real tightness, tautness maybe when it comes to these streaming films where, they would maybe put a little more effort in making sure you have a really polished product that is going to a paying audience in a theater, sitting down for that highly tuned exhibition model where, yeah, you've got the sound system, the professional grade equipment that's projecting this film in a theater versus, at home, people, don't have things necessarily as locked down. And I don't know, I think it maybe just creates kind of a vibe around the whole project of like, oh, this is, there's less stakes here, and we don't have to make it as high quality. This is just kind of slop for Netflix, or I don't know what the deal is. I just don't have as much of a excitement, especially if it's a film. St Series are a different beast, but like a made for streaming film to me, just for whatever reason, I'm my appetite for that is rarely very high. I'm trying to think of like the last straight to streaming movie I watched and really enjoyed. There have been a couple, but there's sort of a weird like pall over these types of films, and I haven't seen, yeah, the Electric State, like the that Zack Snyder film. I watched the first Rebel Moon, and it's just so kind of well, like Spellbound, it's just kind of tepid.
Yeah, I don't know what goes into the psyche of that. Like there's got to be just some type of like you said, kind of maybe even like a brain block that people don't even recognize they have when they're working on those types of projects. Or even as
Hmm.
the audience member, there's a brain block we have watching it, knowing that
Hmm.
oh,
maybe they
sure.
think a certain way. It's probably hard to say like where that stems from.
Hmm.
But I mean, I feel like we talk about it all the time, like with streaming, it's just because there's so much stuff being pumped out 24/7. And I mean, and now, I mean, and maybe not just now, but in
Hmm.
more recently, just using AI. I know they used a lot of AI in the
Yeah.
animation of Moana 2 that they didn't
Oh,
use
really?
first
Oh, I didn't
Moana.
know
Oh,
that.
And it's
didn't know
Dang.
simple
that.
things. It's simple things like which way the waves are going to splash up and how the
Ah,
water is going to move and things like that. But I'm wondering if subconsciously we can feel it. You know what I
mm.
mean? Like an AI like did that wave, like not a
I
human, you
wonder.
know? I'm
Yeah,
not against it. I think AI is like an amazing tool when it's used correctly. But when it comes to art, maybe our heart is like,
So we're
hey,
AI
yeah,
haters. We are.
I
algorithmically.
feel
I'm
that.
like,
Yeah.
I want AI to do my laundry. I don't want them to make art.
Like they need to do the menial tasks so that
Yeah,
we
do the
can,
crap
the
I don't
humans
want
can
to
make the
do.
art
it
and
I
sounds
yeah.
want
like
to
from
do
what
the
I
art.
read.
I
From what
thought,
I read, at least with Moana 2, like
yeah.
Mm.
the AI that tools that they did use were not for anything.
Late Night with the Devil was good, I thought.
Wait,
Mm.
what's
Um,
that?
I don't know.
it was, I think that released on Shudder originally,
Was
but
it animated?
no, it was a live action, sort of stylistic parody of like a late night talk show, but uh, with a horror twist,
Mm.
like a 70s Johnny Carson setting where things go terribly awry during the broadcast, and it is shot like a an actual TV broadcast as well,
Ah, it's
streaming, yeah,
fascinating. Hmm.
live.
So I haven't heard of that, but I did watch Cassandra, which was like a German show, but it was kind of like it was like do you guys remember Smart House on
Oh
Disney?
yeah.
It
Teen
was
Mom.
like
Yeah.
that, but the lady like will kill you because
I
she
always
wants you
thought
to
that
stay
the
here.
Smart
It
House
was a
lady was
wild
scary
show.
enough. Right?
Yeah, it was a wild show. I was just like, I mean, it was good. I was like, this is crazy. It was
Hmm.
a crazy show. But
Be
it was
fun to
good. I
check
did
out.
like it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I shared some pictures with you guys
Yeah,
of
these
like
look
what
crazy.
it's an art book. So it's an art book and it's
Oh,
basically about like dystopian, like the future where we're all like plugged in to
oh,
we're all plugged into computers and not actually living. We're like living in like a digital world and the world's getting
dang.
like run over by technology
Wow.
basically.
Fun,
So
fun,
that's like it's
fun.
like really creepy. It's like really creepy and eerie and
Mhm.
dystopian. And that's why Godfrey was like, he was like, that's not, he was like, we watched the trailer and he was like, that is not, no. He was like, did they
Not
look at
here
it?
for it.
Did they talk to the
Yeah.
person who made the art? Like, did they do any
Yeah.
like research before they did this movie? Because it does look like it's
Good.
like, oh, it's a campy, fun robot movie with
Oh,
Chris
yeah.
Pratt having a mullet.
God.
It was
Some tonal shift there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sidebar. Let's just be done with Chris Pratt, honestly. Like I am done with that.
Please
He's
stop casting him
everywhere.
and stuff.
I'm like, oh,
He's the same
geez.
character
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
everything. He's just Chris Pratt. Chris Pratt is Mario.
Yeah.
Chris
Crispy
Pratt is
rat.
this. Yeah.
Uh,
um I let's see, I enjoyed the new Looney Tunes movie. It was dumped in
I'm
theaters.
looking forward to seeing that, especially, and I put this in the chat. It's the
Yeah.
same distribution company that might also be optioned Coyote vs. Acme, which
Oh.
is like that film that got canceled, very unceremoniously, like deleted from like everywhere. But it was got like some amazing reviews and stuff. Like,
Hmm.
it has a lot of traditional animation in it as well, and some kind of hybrid live action animation stuff. Like if you like Roger Rabbit or Space
Yeah.
Jam, that would be kind of more your jam. But no, I heard really good things about that film, so I hope it eventually comes to light. But I do want to see the new one as well, the one that did come out, the Looney
Yeah,
Tunes.
that was a
Yeah.
hybrid live action, the Coyote versus Acme. This
Hmm.
is all animation. The day the Earth blew
Oh,
up,
okay, yeah. Oh,
um,
cool.
Daffy Duck and Porky Pig could team up during this film. It kind of gives them an origin story from
Oh,
basically their birth all the way to, where are they now?
I've just never heard of this. Like you
Yeah.
mentioned it, and I was like, I have
yeah.
never heard of
There's like
this movie.
no publicity. I've not seen any ad for it anywhere.
That's how I thought about Strange World.
I've just been seeing tweets from like film Twitter being like, "Hey, like, has anyone heard that this is coming out? Because it's actually very good, and you should tell people about it." And I was like, "This is the first I'm hearing about it. Like, what?"
Yeah, crazy.
So yeah, crazy. Like, yeah, animation Twitter is like going a buzz about it. So I do wanna check that out. I've not been watching anything new, to be honest. I've really just been watching Twin Peaks. Like after this,
Oh,
I'm going to a screening of Fire Walk with Me. I'm very excited.
fun. Okay.
So like yeah, I've been hankering for some new stuff, but also like, diving into the familiar, with this being kind of a mix of new and familiar, but very fan servicey with the old, but also looking to the future and like trying new things here and there too. But also, yeah. So I'm like, I'm trying to keep an open mind and try new things. That's kind of my mantra for media lately. But yeah,
Sure.
Get
I don't
lost in
yeah,
media.
exactly,
Get lost.
exactly.
Don't do it. Da, da, da.
I feel
Frankie
like
goes
mine's
to
all been
Hollywood.
like it's like all documentaries and anime.
Oh, nice.
That's all I
Yeah.
consume, I feel like these days.
Well, you guys must not have a husband who knows about baseball season because that is what the TV is on. That
No,
is
Oh
what's
yeah.
no.
viewing at our house right now.
No, we're a soccer family, so it's soccer, Manchester United soccer. But Godfrey usually
Hey,
watches it on his
nice.
computer because it doesn't come on the TV because it's, it comes on at like 8 o'clock in
Yeah,
the
league
morning
soccer
here
is like a weird. Yeah,
because it's
my
in
dad's
England.
super
Yeah.
into it. Yeah.
So he usually watches it like while he's working. So I go out there and listen to my murder documentaries and stuff while I'm cleaning.
Hey.
So I'm like this. I do my murder, and then once he gets off work, we watch anime.
There we
So
go.
Right.
Balance. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I'm kind of ready to get into some final thoughts, and for me, there, I thought there were a couple like noteworthy Herculean moments during this film, and I mean mo things about the film that remind me of Disney's Hercules from 1997. And the first one was like the Mat yeah, what's Matanye's character
Mhm.
reminded me of Megarov from that film.
Mm.
And then there's like a scene there's a lot of like lightning strikes that
Oh,
occur
yeah.
during
Yeah.
this. So
It's pretty
that's always
epic.
exciting. Yeah, yeah, sign of an epic film. And even a comet that follows one of the
I
lightning.
liked that. That was a cool visual
I
effect.
like when it
Yeah.
explodes and they're just like,
Yeah.
okay, what do we
Like,
do
where do we
now?
go?
Very
Okay.
portentous.
Then lightning
Yeah.
tornadoes, lightning
Before we do
tornadoes.
our final thoughts, I just want to know the quickest thoughts on like,
Yes.
because I had this question at events. Did Moana
Uh-huh.
die?
That was my question
Hmm.
too. I was like, so
That's
she
gotta be
gets
our
the
final thought.
tattoo and she
Yes.
levels up, is what they say. So I
She
feel like
Hmm.
that's the answer. And it's very
Okay.
vague. But I was like, I watched it and
Yeah.
I was like, oh, she totally died. And she had like a Spirit Elsa moment where
Hmm.
she's like, like ascending and like she's kind of, is she a demigod? I don't know
The
what
theory
she
is
is
that
now.
she's a
Yeah.
demigod because like
Oh,
Yeah.
her
yeah.
tattoos and her aura light
So
up
we're
just like
telling the
Maui's
kids
do.
she died.
And like
Yeah.
she can do stuff.
Okay.
I mean, I would just be like,
Dang.
oh, no, she's a demigod now.
She's really close with the demigods, yeah.
Just totally just
Yeah.
avoid the question.
Moana leveled up now, and we're not gonna, dive into the implications
Oh,
of
she's a demigod
no,
now?
she was killed in battle.
She has cool powers.
Kids love to ask about who's dying, who died,
Yeah,
who's
it's a
dying.
big question. I hear it a lot with Elsa.
Do
Yeah.
yes. Do you know
Mhm.
your mom died? You know your parents
Yeah.
died on a boat? And I'm like,
Yeah, kids are
I
very
like
fascinated,
it's
especially
so
because,
funny.
sometimes Disney films are like kids' first exposure to
Hmm.
grief and
Yeah.
deeper themes of like existentialism, mortality, which is crazy to think about, like in general, but also like it provokes interesting conversations. So like sometimes kids don't always have the outlet to like have those conversations, and they see the
Yeah.
characters and they're like, let me like get straight to the source and ask them what's up. Like,
Yeah.
hey, your parents died. Let's talk about that. I'm like, okay, well, this is a child that wants to have a connection, a moment about this, so I'm not going to deny them this. So I don't shy away from it, but I also don't linger on it. That's my
Yeah.
general approach. Yeah.
Usually it's like, oh, your parents, because it's always like while I'm like doing makeup. And they're like, oh, your parents
Yeah.
died? And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, that was a really sad time, but we're at a birthday party. Isn't that so much fun? Like, aren't you having so much fun doing makeup?
Yeah.
Stop asking me about my dead parents.
Divert.
They're having like their little existential crises. They're like, please tell me like what happens on the other side of death. And you're like, I can't.
Oh.
Okay.
It's like,
Oh no,
girl,
I'm
I'm
just
wondering the
seeing their
same thing.
spirits. I hear
Yeah.
my mom singing a song for me to go find myself, okay? Like, what do you
Yeah.
want from me?
Yeah. They're engaging with media, and I can applaud
Yeah.
that. It's
I
like,
mean, at least
I
they
love
get it a little
Yeah.
bit. They
Yeah.
understood the context of what was
Yeah.
happening,
Yeah, I
suppose.
wonder
But
if
yeah.
the Moanas now are gonna have the tattoo. I've not seen it in the parks. I have seen she has the new outfit now in the parks, and a lot of I've
Yeah.
seen at balls she's starting to pop up with the new outfit as well. But
Our
I've not seen.
off-brand,
Yeah,
our off-brand island princesses do
yes.
tattoo.
Do they have the
Yeah.
sleeve? Do they do like a sleeve?
Literally, these girls are crazy, and I think they do like henna tattoos the night before at like 1 a.m.
No
I don't
way.
know what
Oh,
they're
I mean,
doing.
I
I was
guess
like,
you
all
could
right.
do, well, you could
That's
do
really
like
cool. I mean,
the
commitment.
regular, the
Yeah.
temporary tattoos. But yeah, I mean, I think
Yeah.
the easiest thing would be to just get a sleeve
Hmm.
Mm.
that has it on it, like a shirt
If
one
you're
that
doing
has it
like
printed on it,
winter,
like how
I'm
people
sure
do
you,
Maui.
yeah.
Hmm.
And then, I mean, worst case, just put one of like her little red things at the top so you can't see the seam. Boom. Done. I should be a costume designer. No,
Yeah.
Well, speaking of ascending to godhood, like that was the other Hercules moment, like when that
Yes, yeah.
pivotal, suspenseful moment. She's swimming and towards his aim, his love, and in this movie, in Moana too, it's she's swimming to try to touch the island so that she can break
she
the
really loves the
curse.
island.
Yeah.
I'm gonna touch that. I'm gonna touch that island.
Yeah.
Lots of like, okay, so they say the name of
Big
this
stakes,
island,
yeah.
like, yeah, well, yeah, do they feel? I mean, the stakes don't really feel that big. Well, big stakes in terms of
Oh.
like her safety and well-being.
Mm.
But Mata Fetu or Motu Fetu, yeah,
Yeah.
Motu Fetu.
Fit too.
Mon tu
Yeah.
fais tu,
There's
yeah.
just a lot of a lore like and
Yeah.
names and
I
so
love lore. I'm
it
here
feels
for it.
like a
Yeah.
series in that sense. It's
Yes.
very
Yeah.
dense with some of this lore stuff, but
It would make a
I did
great
I
like
book
liked it.
series
the
too. Yeah.
Kakamora, the coconuts. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, they're just trying to get home. And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
And then they
That was
reunite at
sweet.
the
And
end.
they
And I
had the
was like,
one,
oh,
yeah, that
yeah.
like
I was like,
teamed
that's
up
good
with
for them.
them. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're all connected. They found
But
what
again, no
connects
one's a
and unites
villain.
all of them. Yeah.
No
No
one's
one's
a
a villain.
villain.
Kind
No
Yeah.
one's a villain. They're just lost.
of
Everyone's
fun,
just lost. Okay,
yes,
guys?
to bring up animation, like fun little kind of visual device with the like LCD screen that they have with the Kakamora, the
Yeah.
coconut
With
pixels
the
or whatever.
coconuts.
And then in the intro to the original Moana, it's like a 2D cutout sequence, and you do see like foreshadowing of some of the monsters. There's a serpent, there's a crab, maybe one other thing, but like
Mm,
um, we do get the serpents in this movie finally, so that pays off.
yeah.
And then they get scared off. It's a little anticlimactic how they get scared off by the sunrise, but whatever. They'll probably come back in the future. They
Yeah.
almost kill what's his name? Mo.
Moni.
Yeah.
Oni, yeah.
Yeah,
Much to
he was
look forward to.
almost got
We'll
got.
see.
Yeah, I
Well,
thought
I did
he
like,
looked like he got eaten. I don't know.
yeah, he was not well. Now he saved him somehow. We're not gonna ask
Yeah.
questions. But I did like the little like fourth wall breaks. I thought those were
Mm,
cute when Maui was like, butt dial. You won't get that for
yeah.
another
In
2000
2,000
years.
years. Yeah.
Better
Yeah.
than Twitter. Yeah, but
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, and
continuation
then
of that. Yeah.
he was like, oh yeah, princess. And she was like, I'm not a princess. And he's like, well, a lot of people think you are.
that's good.
So
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, the
Evidently so. Yeah.
tattoo winks. Yeah. Who's the best little sidekick character? Maybe the tattoo?
Oh. Oh, probably. I always love
I
the
don't know. I
tattoo.
like Hey
Yeah.
Hey. I
Hey
like the Hey
hey.
Hey girl.
Yeah.
Like we're going
I'm
to
glad Pua got to
Disney.
come with them. Yeah.
Oh
When?
yeah,
Wait, I
we're
missed
going
that. Oh my
spring
gosh.
break. We're going to
Oh,
Disney for spring break.
exciting.
And I want to get
Yes.
Hey Hey ears. I'm
Oh,
like,
that's
I'm
too
trying to figure
cute.
out what I want to wear
Yeah.
because I'm going to force my children to at least match me one day. Just one.
Yes.
The
Because why not?
blobfish was fun. I mean, it
I
has
love a
that like
blobfish.
it does the goat scream, which is kind of annoying, but
I
like
hate
Yeah.
that.
I noted that. I was like, oh, that was very 2012 of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a millennial, I guess, was working on that scene or something. Cause like,
I like the look and the way it explains like the venom of the Kakamora, their
Oh, and
blow
she
darts.
was like, oh, they're like, oh, good on both ends. And I was like, ew.
Gross. Yeah.
Ew.
Uh,
Well, apparently the bats that Matangi has, they are Samoan fruit bats.
Right.
That's what they like are supposed to
I
be.
love fruit
And I
bat. Like
wonder about
they're
that.
cute.
Yeah,
They're
they're
like
so
little
cute.
flying dog. They're not, because bats typically have that smushed nose and their faces are wonky,
Hmm.
but fruit bats
They have like a
actually have,
snout.
yeah, they look like foxes kind of.
I literally watched a reel for like 5 minutes the other day of people, they like capture and release them so they can tag them. And so they would catch them and feed them a banana while they tagged them. And it was so cute. It's the cutest thing I've ever seen. I was like, I will watch this again and again forever. It was just a bat eating a banana. It was very cute.
Well, Laura, any addition, final things to sign off with?
Yeah, I'll probably watch it again, is what I'm thinking. Like, especially if the good story continues, I think it sets up a lot of really interesting ideas. And I liked it for what it was, and also would have liked it more for what it eventually kind of wasn't going to be, but at one point was. That's kind of a weird meandering sentence, but a lot that I could take out of it too, and that I appreciated. So yeah, kind of mixed thoughts here, but overall generally positive. Yeah.
Jody.
I want to echo that genuinely and generally very positive. Um, I'm very excited to come back in here and talk about Snow White. So
Yes.
I'm done with Moana. Check this.
Next princess, let's go.
And
Go
next
back to the
princess,
first
let's
one.
go.
Yeah.
Bridget, what are your final thoughts, girl?
Bridget,
So I like this. I will probably force my children to watch it because I do think, especially like Scarlett loved the first one so much, I do think she'll like this one. She's just
Mhm.
a stubborn preteen, so she doesn't want to do anything ever that I want her to do. So I'll probably watch it again. It was cute. The music was, again, it was fine. Not my favorite. First one was better. I think if they do a third one, they should have them like
Mm.
all work together, like Lin-Manuel and
Yes,
those
I
two.
like
I
that
think that
idea.
if they could like come together and like merge their
Joint
styles,
forces.
Great
I
idea.
think it would be good. I do
I
think it'd
like
be
that.
good because he has a, like a certain all of his music has a certain vibe. So I do think like adding in like some of the more melodic stuff was nice.
Yeah.
So I think that would be good. And also I went and looked up the gods. So
Mm,
Nalo,
yeah.
they believe he was inspired by Tawiri Mate, which is the god of weather in Maori mythology with the power over storms.
Ah, okay.
However, there apparently are like lots of deities across all the Polynesian islands. So there's probably one in each like island
Mhm.
that has a different name. So that's what it was inspired by.
Fascinating. Yeah.
I guess to go through all the little sidekick characters, just to name them. Of course, you have the rooster and the pig. The pig didn't get much play in
Mhm.
the first film, but he's along for the ride here. And
Him
then,
and Bua.
Yeah, Pua. Oh, Bua was the
Pua
fat
and
one,
Bua.
Bua. Yeah.
who little more likely to become a literal
Boat snack.
ghost boss.
Upgraded
Oh
boat
no.
snack.
Yeah, and Moana makes references to eating pork, which is funny.
Yeah.
She's
She's like,
by
I'm
no
a
means,
fairy.
Sorry, Bua.
but it does come off as a bit of like a PSA for veganism
Mm,
or vegetarianism, maybe
It's like
pescatarian.
don't eat your friends.
yeah.
Um,
Consider the coconut once again.
Yeah.
And also the
Speaking
pigs.
speaking of the coconut, we have a Kakamora sidekick now who joins the
Mm,
team. Yeah,
Yeah.
Maui's tattoo, of course, and then the ocean, I guess, is considered sort of
yeah.
the last non-speaking kind of sidekick character. Um, yeah, um, the pig and the rooster. I mean, we anticipate those. I enjoy kind of all these characters but it does play more as like something that maybe would work better with some added runway in the form of like a series or something. But yeah, I think
Mm,
the box office return has fully vindicated any decision as to the wisdom of the move away from the streaming series.
Oh, I did love how much the Kakamura loved Hey Hey. Every time they had to have Hey Hey, they were just like, "Ah, here you go.
cute.
Here's you in your little chair." Oh yes, and he's like petting Hey Hey, and I was just like, I love that they love him because I also love Hey Hey.
Oh,
Bacon
yeah.
and
And they brought back
eggs.
Alan Tudyk. Yeah, they
Bacon
brought
and
back
eggs.
Alan
Yeah.
Tudyk. You gotta have
Yay.
him.
Yeah.
But yeah, Hey Hey's always my favorite, but I do like that they added more. And I also the kid, the dancing kid. We
Oh,
didn't
he
talk about
grew
the
up.
dancing kid.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
He grew up.
I
He grew
ship
up.
that.
I do. I was like, you know what? I'm fine with this. I'm fine with
Uh,
that. He needs to get a little older.
A little older, yeah, and then yeah, I don't know. Let's see. That's yeah. I think we got kind of everyone's. I don't anyone want to plug social media.
might as well. You can find me
I love that.
in many places. I'm like, might as well. I'm Lara Akal on most places, but on Instagram, if you want to look for magical, fun, princessy content, you could look at part of Lara's world. Or if you're into mermaids, the mermaid Lara is my mersona, so you can check out her stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, y'all
Uh,
do cosplaying events and stuff, so check them out. Yeah, Bridget.
you can find me on Instagram. It's Bridget5246. That's Bridge with a T, 5246.
Well, anyone else? Otherwise, we'll.
I'm finally back into my TikTok. Like, I don't know,
Woo!
months or someone kicked me out
Oh
months
my
ago, but
gosh.
I never know my passwords. But it's JODIPOLASKY 47, and it's honestly not much, but see you there or see you here.
All
Yay.
right. Links in the show notes. Thodcast.com, at Thodcast on socials, at Philip Elke on socials. And yeah, just fun to be back. Spring is here, so I'm be feeling kind of right as rain, the April showers and such. So yeah, hope everyone's feeling strong and refreshed and healthy. So just yeah, soak in the island vibes. Moana 2. Thanks for coming along on this journey into the beyond.
Nice.
Uh,
Perfect.
Vocals.
Into the
the,
beyond.
the mysterious beyond to invoke the land before time. Um, and with that, I think we'll sign off with our usual um, kind of refrain of have a magical day, have a wonderful week. Mele keleke well, wait, it's not
Oh.
Christmas anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few different greetings, but I don't know. I'm not gonna get that
Say
all mixed.
aloha. That's hello and
Aloha.
high
There
Yeah,
you go.
close enough. And yeah, so have a magical day, have a wonderful week. Warm hugs to all.